Good evening, Trilogy Nation. Scott back with Trilogy Live, Season 2, Episode 8. Here in a minute, we're going to have Team DynamicDiscs Logan Harpool come and join us. I hope everybody's been enjoying everything that's been going on. My best wishes to everybody who's having to stay at home to work. Now, if you're not working, or those who have to brave in and go to work, my deepest thoughts and prayers are going to you guys and you and your family. So let's just try to keep things that are going, try to keep things positive, which for the most part, I think it is. And one of the things, again, that we're trying to do is just bring you these interviews and bring you these Trilogy players. And they're not always intended to be the elite players. I would like players of all caliber. So if you're interested and you have something to say, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you. And let's see what we can do. Again, this is by a fan, for the fans. So that is my goal for the whole purpose of Trilogy Talk. So again, we're going to have Logan Harpool here in a minute on Thursday night at the same 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It looks like we're going to have Jeremy Rusko in the house. So we've had some pretty good interviews going forward, and I expect these next two to be the same. So let's welcome Logan Harpool. How you doing, Logan?
What's up, Scott? I'm doing good.
So what's life been like for Logan with COVID-19 affected? Because you're a teacher, so it's obviously has affected your day-to-day. So yeah, what's going on with you?
Yeah, still teaching. We have a continuous learning plan through the district, and I'm a special education teacher, so it might look a little bit different for me, making sure that students have what they need, but we're staying busy, we're making progress, and the kids are tuning in and still wanting to participate, so it's good. But outside of work, it's a lot of time at home, and I'm lucky to live in the country so I can step out my back door and throw. But man, I miss tournaments. I miss the scene. I hope it comes back soon.
So now these might be personal questions for myself. What kind of teacher did you say you were?
I'm a high school special education.
Special education. So I'm not sure if that would be quite the same as regular classes, but you had to convert to a lot of online curriculum, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how was that? I mean, you weren't trained in creating online curriculum. I mean, it wasn't something you went to school for. From my understanding of talking to other teachers, it isn't something that a lot of people are prepared for. I mean, I know my kids' teachers sometimes have a tough enough time just getting grades entered into the online stuff, much less having to treat an entire curriculum. I mean, what has that been like?
Yeah, it's different. My entire room was whiteboards and pencil and paper, and we're lucky to have a 1-to-1 Chromebook ratio, where each kid has their own Chromebook, and they're really cool. They flip back all the way, like almost into an iPad. But in my room, we really only use those to check our grades and for interactive games. We play Kahoot, we use quizzes for some reviews, but never like actual content learning. We didn't really utilize them too much. So it's a complete 180, and it's not comical, but we are literally all learning this together, from the 30-year veteran who's been teaching for decades to me, a first-year teacher. We're all starting the same place, and that we've never done this before. So it's day to day. We make mistakes, but they're learning. You know, they hop on, and it looks a whole lot different. But Zoom is our friend right now, and I have great leadership ahead of me, all the way from central office to administration to the teachers in my hallway. I would not be where I'm at without their help. So that helps me a bunch.
So now with all the changes, and you've had to adjust and get acclimated and reteach yourself how to do it online, and probably trying to even reteach yourself how to have daily interactions with each student. I did initially, when I originally went to school, I was going there to be a teacher, so I did do some student teaching, and I remember from those days of you have students that need different attention than other students, and you're looking at them, especially I would imagine even in a special needs situation. But have you had to kind of learn to adjust for, this student needs this attention, this student just needs this guidance, and whereas as opposed to them coming to you, now you've got to figure out how to do it online. Has that been a challenge?
I think the biggest adjustment is just the relationships. My classroom was very, I don't want to say laid back, but it really was. And we mess with each other, and we have fun, and we laugh, and it's just not the same to do that online. My kids are very, very smart. if you walked in my room, you wouldn't know that it was a special education room other than the class sizes are a little smaller.
Okay.
But it's so much fun to be in the classroom, and when I heard what was going on, I didn't think I would miss it as much as I am. But it's hard to replicate developing and keeping those relationships through a webcam. It's just not the same, but we're making it work.
It's funny how many people I've talked to who miss their jobs, miss being home. Now, my wife's total opposite. She's been on cloud nine, super happy. She loves working from home. She's a little bit different, but I've talked to a lot of people, and yeah, they miss the job. I mean, I work for DynamicDiscs and I work for a parks department, and I'm working for the parks, but I'm not going to DD, and that's about an hour and 15-minute drive for me. And it used to get one way, so it used to get times for me where I'd be like, I'm tired of this drive, but I miss that drive right now. And everything I do, even for DD, I'm a mobile employee, so I can do from home, and I work predominantly from home. Do you foresee that once this even all comes back, that you guys start moving more to even a little bit more online capability, or do you think it'll go back to normal?
I've heard that. I've heard rumors from teachers who have been teaching longer that they see it coming and it's the future and all that, but I don't think so. I think we'll go more and more paperless to that route as time goes on. But as far as teaching through a camera, I don't think that'll ever be the best option for kids. I don't see it going 100% to that.
So, and then this question it's very much for myself. Sure, the fans might be curious, but it's really more for me. And I know none of your students are watching this. And if you guys are watching, ignore Mr. Harpool. But is the grading the same? Do you grade, is it quite the same as you do? I mean, on math, it's right or wrong. But on other subjects, I mean, it could be up for interpretation. And since people are having to, and I'm wondering about this for my own kids sometimes, it's sometimes harder to do things online because you're not getting quite the help. You can't just come in before school or after school quite as easily. So has that changed any?
Grading, not so much, other than we're focusing more on quality and not quantity.
Okay.
Where we would have them do a 20-question assignment, now we're having them do 5 and show us that you know how to do this really well. And throughout the week, we have office hours as teachers now, so the kids can pop in and get help, and they're utilizing it very well, and we're having a lot of success, I think. In terms of how I thought it was going to go, it's been a success. But yeah, grading it's the same. We hold them to the same standard, just not as much of a workload. Okay.
All right, let's talk about disc golf, because that's why we're here.
Sweet.
So I'm glad everything is going good. You're a fairly newer player. What are you, 101, 319?
Yep.
Is that right? I looked it up. I was trying to see how well I could remember it. So you really, in retrospect to numbers, you've only been playing, I think you joined the PDGA in 2017. So you haven't been playing a long time, but you've, outside of a handful of advanced play tournaments in 2017, which you won several of those, you've been playing pro and doing pretty good. So kind of let me and our audience know, I mean, how did you get started?
So I found disc golf in, I think it would have been like 2013, but I don't really count that as my start. I was living out of hotels all summer, playing baseball, traveling, doing that thing, and it was really just a reason for us to be outside when we weren't playing ball. But we didn't know anything. We didn't know what we were doing. Jump forward to 2015. My best friend passed away in 2012. I stayed close to his family, and I was driving past their house, and they were outside, so I stopped in just to mess with them, and they were playing disc golf. And I said, well, I've done that before. Let me throw one. I threw a sidearm, and the guy, his name is Jess Stewart. He hooked me up and took care of me from the time I started. He handed me a disc and said, no, not like this, and showed me how to throw a backhand, and he said I threw it 300 feet into a cornfield. First backhand ever. So he gave me and my brother both a backpack full of discs, so 2 backpacks full of discs, and said, here, go have fun. He didn't say go work hard or here, go try to go on. He just said, go have fun. So I'm like, sweet. So we caught the bug, played hard for a week, and then put him up in the garage and didn't touch him. And kind of out of it again. So jump forward another 2 years, and I don't want to share this for sympathy. Like I don't need that from people, but I want to share what I'm about to share because I know it can help someone. And if my career revolves around me, myself, and I'm doing it for the wrong reason. I want to use what I've been through and where I'm at to help someone. So in 2017, I had stepped away from baseball, and I thought I was really mentally tough. And in sports, I had proved that I was. And physically tough, mentally tough. I did a lot of things people thought I couldn't do. And I got absolutely wrecked by anxiety, which turned into depression in 2017. And you can only fight that battle for so long on your own, telling people you're okay and telling people that you're fine and you'll be okay, and then you break. And I broke. And it looks different for different people, but for me, I lost 14 pounds in a week. I wouldn't really leave the house, didn't talk to people. When I did talk, it probably wasn't very kind, but I just had shut down, and I was not doing well. And eventually started going to therapy, got help. I know what the triggers were. I know what set me off. And, you know, when I tell people that I dealt with anxiety and depression, they think that I'm still mentally ill or that I'm off in something. Like, no, it was temporary. I got help. I was sick. I got better. And the journey to getting better is where disc golf comes in a big way. Through all of that, I had my faith first. I prayed more in that time than I ever had before. I had my family. My mom, my dad, and my brother never left my side, and they're the ones that encouraged me to go get help and go to therapy because they understood and they knew, you know, I'm their brother and I'm their son. They know me. They knew I wasn't right, and they said, here, this person's going to help you. So I went and sat on a couch with a woman I didn't know and just spilled everything to her. And all of a sudden she was telling me how my mind works. Like, okay, I'm going to believe what she tells me and I'm going to apply it. Started getting better, but I'm a mover. And I get really weird if I don't move. And after 14 years of baseball at the capacity that I played, like my body almost physically hurts when I don't move. So I would grab, and at this time I still didn't know there were tournaments. Like I had no idea what the PDGA was. I had no idea there was a tour, there were tournaments. I just knew there was a course in town, like a little 9-hole course is all I knew. And when I would freak out and have these panic attacks, I would either flip on the outside light in our backyard and putt, because I made a basket out of PVC pipe, a bicycle rim, and chains. And I'd putt outside, and if it was daylight, I would grab a stack of putters and just start pegging trees. And it's in the middle of these panic attacks where I can't think straight, and I just grab the discs and hustle outside. I had no idea in doing that I was developing skill. But that was the greatest blessing, was that I learned to love disc golf first, and then I found out there were tournaments. Whereas now I see people get in and they go straight to tournaments and then they try to, you know, enjoy disc golf, but they kind of have it backwards. So that's how I actually started playing. But then Jess, the same dude that got me into it, said, hey, you need to go play a tournament. I'm like, a tournament what? He said, disc golf. I was like, what's disc golf? He's like, what you do all the time. All right, let's try it. And I won rec, jumped to advance, got kicked around a little, and then wound up winning like 4 or 5 advanced tournaments in a row. Jumped up to MPO in November of 2018, and then won my second MPO tournament at the Monkey Island Open, and started rolling from there, and the rest is history. So definitely not the journey that I would have drawn up, but disc golf was therapy for me, and it still kind of is. It has a calming effect. And when you learn to putt, when your hands are shaking and doing this, tournament day is not so daunting anymore when you think back to those days.
You know, we talked about it briefly, about your story there a little bit, and I know I'd kind of shared, but one of the things that I really like about that story, we talked about, you know, whether you should share it or you sharing it, and I think it's such a deep story for a lot of players, because I think there's a lot of players that play, I mean, people play for their own reasons. Sometimes it's just for social, but it's to get away, it's to deal with anxiety, it's to deal with depression, it's just kind of a way to isolate yourself from the world. And I've often said for myself is I'm very much a social person, but I tend to play by myself because I like that isolation, to be with my own thoughts. If I'm frustrated or not happy, it's easier for me to be out on the course. And then, of course, when you are feeling down, that social aspect really draws you in. And even, I mean, I'm sure you've learned what so many people have is even when you're new to the game or you travel to a different city by yourself, it doesn't take very long to feel like you've been playing there for a while. you're getting to know people. Or I've been traveling for years, but I'll go from one tournament to the next and meet somebody, see them at the next event, and it's like you almost go out of your way to say hi to those people. So for those people, who have, if you have that just anxiety or depression, or I don't know the right word, but just needing that ability to need to be alone, I think a lot of times disc golf brings that out of. I want to be around people, especially when you're at tournaments, because you're not going to tournaments to isolate yourself. But, you just to see friends and to see smiley faces. And I know most of my best friends are disc golfers. I'd actually almost say all of my best friends are disc golfers, or I've met them through disc golf in some way. So
yeah, disc golf has allowed me to meet some of the most wild, crazy people you'd ever imagine meeting. Like, it's taken me awesome, and I've only been playing MPO for a little over a year now. I've met so many great people. Like, this sport is amazing, and because of what I went through and all of that, like I said, I don't want sympathy for it, but I revert back to it because when I am lucky enough to win now, my speech changes a little bit, but I'll always talk. I'll always thank my sponsor. And the last 2 tournaments I've won, the last thing I say before I walk off is grow the sport. Not to get it on ESPN, not to grow the paycheck, not to post on social media, because you could be saving someone's life by putting a disc in their hand. And I truly believe that. I mean, people just need that outlet. And it may not be disc golf, but there's a chance that a walk in the park with a little different purpose changes the way someone looks at the world. And where I was, it definitely did that for me.
So, all right. So you started 2017. This ultimately was started. Here we're in 2020. We really didn't get too much of a 20 season, but you had three full seasons, and you have about a 50% win rate. I don't know if you've ever figured that out, but you have about a 50% win rate, and that doesn't come by accident. So, I mean, tell everybody. I mean, are you just naturally good? Do you have a practice routine? How much time are you putting in to prepare for these tournaments?
Well, I am not married, don't have kids, so, I don't really have the real life responsibility that some people have, which right now is a luxury for me. So I do have a lot of time to practice. And I think it's easy to use the word talented. I think that's there on the right side of my body. On the left side, when I throw a backhand, not so much. I didn't have that from day one, but there are patches of grass on the property that are completely worn from the hours put in, and that comes from just people think I'm joking when I say it, but I tell them with a smile, I'm not here for second place, and I mean that. I'm not showing up to tournaments to take second. I want to be respectful. I want to do things the right way, but I want to win, and I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. You can go back and ask my second, third, and fourth grade teachers, and that's been from the time I was little, since I was in T-ball. I hate losing, and I'll shake your hand if you beat me, and I'll be as kind as I can be. But I'm gonna go home and fix what was wrong. I'm gonna go home and fix those weaknesses because I'm not doing anything halfway. And the 50% win thing, I think I saw it last year. I was like, I'm gonna try to keep that going, but in reality, you're not gonna win everything. No. And to me, there's a difference between getting beat and losing, and people think I'm crazy when I say this, but if I get beat, I'm fine with it. That means I played well and someone outperformed me. Like, great, you got me. Losing to me is something you do to yourself. I went out of bounds like an idiot. I missed the putt. I lost my head. I had a bad attitude. So I don't mind getting beat, but losing I hate it.
That's I don't want to toot your horn, but there's a lot of Paul McBeth traits in there. He used to play baseball. He's got a 50% rate, and he's even said, I don't mind losing because then I lost, but then I'm going to go fix it. So I'm just saying, you're only 3 years in. He's 20 years in. So, this interview could be historic. We never know.
Maybe. Who knows?
So how much time do you put on the course and actually practicing? No.
The course time seemed to get less and less. It turned into more field work, but I go to my home course quite a bit and just play by myself. I'll play forehand only, backhand only, or whatever. But most of those are throwing multiple shots. I'll play my first one. I try to do something every day. I'm fortunate to have the 25-year-old body that doesn't get beat up too easy, so I'm trying to enjoy it while I can within reason. But I try to do something every day because I know if I'm not doing something, there's somebody out there that is. And there's no reason why I can't be the hardest working, because I don't believe I am the most talented. But if I work my hardest and I show up on tournament day prepared, whatever the result, I have to be content with it.
Okay. Do you ever have any ambition? I mean, you said you're single, but you're a school teacher, so you pretty much only have June, July, August as far as being able to play. Have you ever looked at, or do you have the aspirations to leave the Midwest and go play some of these big tournaments?
I've thought about it. I've had multiple people ask me, about touring and things, but I'm really happy doing what I'm doing right now. And I made the mistake of pushing baseball too far to the point where I had probably an unattainable goal at 6 foot and 155 pounds. It's not in the cards to go professional with a work ethic like mine at the time and with that body. And I don't want to make that same mistake with disc golf. I want to enjoy every step of my journey, and wherever I land, that's where I land. That, going on tour is a complete life change. It seems awesome on the outside. I don't know if it's for me. If that's where I'm supposed to be, if that's why I'm on planet Earth, it's going to happen. If that's God's plan for my life, it will happen. But I'm really happy doing what I'm doing right now, and I honestly like being able to step away every once in a while and not touch a disc. And those guys on tour, they can do it for a few days, but they're hitting the road and they're playing again the next weekend. And I don't know. I mean, now or the next couple of years would be the time to do it, but I'm really happy doing what I'm doing right now. I like being at the high school with the kids, and I do plan to hit the road this summer. Hopefully things open up sooner than later, because I had a pretty good schedule set, but we'll see what still happens and what doesn't. But June, July, and August, I definitely want to hit the road and get to some bigger ones.
What were some of those events? If nothing changes, everything kind of gets fixed tomorrow, and you get to go to your original schedule, what were some of those tournaments?
Well, I have the schedule somewhere. The Norman Pro-Am in May, that actually just got moved to my birthday, August 9th, so I'll be going there. Ledgestone was really close to school starting, so I don't know if that could have been, if it was in the first week of school, I couldn't have done it, but I think it might have been scheduled for after. Des Moines Challenge, Glassblowing was on there, that would have been in April. There's not a whole lot in the Midwest in July. There's Am Worlds, obviously can't play that one. But July was just going to be trying to get to as many C or B tiers as I could, because there wasn't a whole lot happening here. But off the top of my head, I'm having trouble thinking of them. But I was going to be busy. I was definitely going to be on the road a lot.
Okay.
But on the road to me is still Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri.
Okay. So, again, you're 25 years old. You've only been playing for a few years. Outside of people pretty much in Kansas, maybe Oklahoma or the surrounding areas, that probably don't know who you are unless they've caught you on social media. And you have a Team DynamicDiscs sponsorship. So something I like to just kind of educate people is everybody's story behind, like, how did that happen? I mean, so a couple years in, can you just tell us kind of how the sponsorship came? We don't need to know details of it, just how you got to where you're at as far as a Team DD member.
Man, it's so much happened so much quicker than I thought, because I told myself, I had these people in my ear telling me, you're going to get sponsored, don't wait, reach out to these people. And at the time, Robert and Brian Shintaku were the team managers. And I was practicing for Keeper of the Chains in Wichita, and Brian was sitting on a picnic table outside the DD van. And so I just walked up and I said, hey, do you know your way around the course, whatever? And he said, no, not really. Can I throw with you? And I said, sure. So that's how I met Brian. But we never really talked team stuff. Like, I didn't really bring it up because I didn't feel like it was my place. I was still playing advanced at the time. And I told myself, really, last year, I got picked up in April of last year, 2019. And I told myself at the beginning of the year, I'm content to go through this whole year without a sponsor, without pushing it, without reaching out to anybody, because I got all the plastic I need from advanced. and we'll just roll with it. And after the Monkey Island Open, I don't think it was my play, honestly, like, because there are tons of good players. But I had met Robert before. I went up to practice for Monkey Island and wound up playing a practice round with him, and then won the Monkey Island Open. And a short time after that, they reached out and said, we want to put you on the team. I was actually practicing country club for the Glassbone Open, and I was playing with Taco, and Robert walked out and said, we want to put you on the team. What do you think? And I just said, yep. Didn't even hesitate. Yes, 100% yes. But I have a great team of people around me who keep me level-headed, and it's not all me. I mean, I have awesome people around me who keep me sane, keep me down on earth, and make sure that I'm doing things the right way. So it may not be the answer you're looking for, but the sponsorship just kind of, it happened way quicker than I thought it would, that's for sure.
And that's a perfect answer. And really, I bring that up again as kind of a fan's perspective, is so many people think, it seems like in disc golf, everybody wants to be sponsored. And even kind of your initial thought is just play. I mean, if it comes, great. But so many people think that they have to be that 1,020 rated player to be sponsored. And you just eclipsed 1,000, right? Last year?
In like November, yeah.
So, I mean, and like I said, we had our guest on last week, Jason Wilder, who is a MA40 player, like 919, and it's just to show that there's so much to that sponsorship and support of whether it's DD, Westside, or Latitude that isn't 100% has to do with play. Yes, you're an up-and-comer, and that's probably what they saw, but it was also, and I was around during that time, so again, I kind of probably have some insight from behind the scenes even about you, just because of my role with DD. I was asked, and know people around you, but it's that impression that you make. Yes, you're playing good and you're doing well, but it's even the character of the person, and that's kind of what I want to educate people about, is because you see online, or I hear those messages of how do I get sponsored, and I'll tell them, it's just like, you do what you do and do stuff in community, but it's having positive attitude and that character, and just being a good person is kind of the first step. It's not necessarily the only step that's going to get you through the door. There's other pieces that have to fall into place. So no, I think your answer was great. So is Monkey Island your biggest win?
Yeah, it's right there.
I see the trophy over your shoulder.
Yeah, got my trusty monkey there in his banana shorts. Yeah, that's probably this signature one, if you can call it that, to now. I won Keeper of the Chains in Wichita, which was a B tier, probably a little bigger than Monkey Island, but it's hard to beat doing it on YouTube. That was cool, and really the reason I think why I played so well there was I told myself I'm not supposed to win this. I'd be an idiot to walk into that saying I'm supposed to win this when you got Isaac Heinen, Jake Lauber, McCabe, McCall. That field was stacked, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I looked at the scorecard on hole 18, because there's 18A, and I was like, holy cow, I'm about to win this. Like, I had no idea. I didn't check the scorecard. I just played. But yeah, I'm definitely not perfect. We talk about character. I dropped bad words on the course, and I made mistakes where I'll apologize to people after the round for something foolish that I did. But you just have to ask yourself, what can I do for them? Why would they want me to wear their logo? Well, what can I do? And it's not like if I was sponsored, then I would. It's kind of like, show us what you can do now, and show us who you are now, and then we'll invest some time and energy into it. But yeah, it's just be you, be real. Like, don't be someone fake, because then you're gonna change.
Well, so, I've gotten second place the last 2 years in a row in MP40, and last year was in a playoff, and it was me and Travis Trober, who's a Kansas City guy as well. We both tied on the first hole. Get to hole 2. I birdied hole 2 during the tournament, and I took a 5 on it to lose it by 1. So he took a 4. That still eats at me. I was like, a 4 isn't even on that hole something. It's such a routine straight shot. As long as you're not in trouble off to the hedges off to the right, which I was not, it should not be a 4. It definitely should not be a 5. It was a little windy, but Yeah, that one still kind of eats me. But a story I'll share with you, since we were kind of talking about the sponsorship and my introduction to you, and I don't think I've ever told you this, and I know I haven't told you this before. So 2017, I was in Wichita for the USAMPC state. I was at Ducks getting ready, and Chris Dunder, we were talking about players, and I don't know how it came up, but you were really new into the game, and he said something to the degree, and this isn't word for word, but basically he had said, yeah, Logan Harpool's really curious about you because I was running these events, and you had made some comments like, well, you were questioning like the match play, especially because I was playing in the match play, and there was questions. It was like, well, how do we know like that? I don't remember exactly how we're setting up the brackets, and you just definitely had a lot of insecurity. Insecurity is probably not right. The unknowns of that level of competition, even in 2017. And so I kind of went into it like, okay, this kid doubts me, but okay, well, I might even took it a slight personal, like, because I was playing, like, someone was questioning my, integrity, and I know you weren't, you were just curious, but anyways, I met you that morning, checked you in, and then I hung out with you almost the whole weekend, because I followed you the whole following the third and fourth rounds and got to know you there. And I remember talking to Brian about that, even back at that time, because after all those events, sometimes they'll ask me, it was just like, well, did you meet anybody, or is there anybody you see? And I remember talking about you even at that point of like, well, I met, his kid, he's new, but he's only been playing a year, and I think you got third or something like that. Did you get third or fourth? Yeah. Something like that. Didn't win it. And but even then, I saw you had your head on your shoulders. But I remember that thought, that first time, like when Chris was telling me that about you. And of course, at that time, I'm thinking like a 15-year-old kid, or something like that, as opposed to a 22-year-old, I suppose. But you're, still pretty young. But anyways, I laugh at that. But that was kind of my introduction, and just a little story for you of kind of some behind the scenes.
I think for me, it came down to the money. Like, it was only like $40.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm putting $40 down, I want everything in writing, what's going on, how, because I think that was one of the first years for USAMPC, wasn't it?
It was the first year.
Yeah, so I was like, I want everything, like I want to know how this is going down, how the brackets are set, whatever. In reality, it didn't matter. I was just brand new and needed to know when to keep my mouth shut.
Do you remember that conversation with Chris?
I think so, because I think he was trying to get me to play it.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't signed up yet or something. So it's like, it doesn't sound like it's for me. And to be honest, I avoided playing tournaments starting out because I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't good enough to win. But it was a mistake on my part because you never know how good you are till you put yourself out there. So, yeah, kind of. I remember hanging out with you. I remember walking around with you that weekend. But, yeah, that's cool.
It's funny how sometimes those little pieces just come together over time without us really thinking much about it. So just really quick, just with your, give me like a 30-second in the bag. What are you throwing when you're out on the course competing in these tournaments?
You're propped up against my laptop, and I literally have like little JPEGs that go in YouTube videos on my desktop. So I got it right here. Like, distance drivers right now, Ballista Pros and Raiders. The Raider is slowly taking over. The farthest flying discs I've thrown are those two molds. Fairway drivers, two favorites are the Felon and the Explorer. I didn't throw the Felon until after the Glassblown Open last year. I had a meltdown on hole 17 at Country Club, and Smitty said, just throw a Felon. I said, I don't throw Felons. He's like, well, then start. And I went back to that same spot, parked it with a Felon, and I've thrown Felons ever since. And then mid-ranges, I throw the Gatekeeper and the Verdict. There's a Bard in there as well, but those are the two main ones, Gatekeeper and Verdict. And I putt with the Warden, Classic Balloon Wardens.
Very quick in the bag. Now you don't have to do in the bag video.
There's more molds than that, but I could probably play around with just those. So
it's funny, just real quick, Smitty, Chris Smith, for those who don't know, I played with him in the late 90s, might have been right at 98, 99, 2000, his very first round ever, or tournament round. He was on my card. Wow. So, yeah, even with him, I have a really big history. I ran the KDGA before he did, up till 2003 when I joined the Air Force, and then he took it over with a group of guys until he solo took it. Now he's had it since 2003, so for a very long time. But yeah, so I have a long history just with the Smitty as well. He's one that I need to get on here too. But I watched some of his pandemic putting, and it seemed like he was technologically challenged. So, so I'm gonna have to walk him through that. So have you done that at all? Have you done that global pandemic putting challenge or any of the putting online stuff?
Yeah, I did the global pandemic challenge. I think the best I got was like 12. For some reason, after the reload, I don't know. Once I go up and grab my 10 putters and come back, for some reason I'm screwed up. But I saw someone got like 160.
Yeah, and it said it was verified, so
that's incredible. I don't doubt it. I mean, it's only 20 feet, but it just for some reason when that camera comes on, it doesn't make sense.
It's just like triple though what the next best is to. If you looked at it, I think the next highest was like 49.
Dang.
Or something like that. So, and I think there's something about being live because I've done 3 times now, and I've gone 170. And after all 3 of those, I made like 30 to 40 in a row. And I was like, and I do the perfect putt, 360, the 20 foot. Usually, I just did it for a match play one, and I went 20 for 20 both times, or 10 for 10 both times. And from that spot, I was like, it's really not that hard. And I think it's something about being live. And I've seen a few other people comment about that.
It must be. I don't know. It's definitely hard. I did that and the Lazat challenge. That wears you out. I had no idea that was going to make me so tired, but it's an hour of throwing, so it definitely did.
I did. I've not done the Lazat one, and I've been hesitant because I'm 44, and I saw Eric do his and talked to him after the fact how exhausted he was about it, so I was hesitant. I did do the parked challenge, which that video didn't come out real good, so I'm going to actually end up redoing it. But that was exhausting. But that's where you start at 200 feet and you got to put it within the 3 meters or 11 feet, 3 meter circle and see how far back you can get. And I got to about 360, but that was exhausting. And my fingertips, just throw. It's like, man, it's just that was tiring. So just doing the putting one, I imagine that'd be tough. Did you see Oakley's viewfinder one?
Yeah,
that he just did.
Grizzly.
Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. So I've thought about trying to do that. I don't have a viewfinder, so that'll affect that. But so you've been playing, and now this year you're running the USAMPC local for Wichita. Mm-hmm. Are you enjoying that? Kind of put with a small TD hat. I mean, you're doing something other than playing, so.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something that I want to do more of. I want to be more in the community because I haven't done a whole lot up until now. I've ran the match play thing, and I'll donate things to a league here and a league there, but I want to find more ways to be in the community and do those things aside from playing because, once again, I want to help people and I want to be there for people, but a lot of those players that are in USAMPC are my friends. And they live, I live north of Wichita, so I don't actually go into Wichita a whole lot. So I don't get to see them or talk to them too much, and so that's another reason to do it. And I like to see how things play out because match play is so much fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy match play. I've done it for the last few years, and for those who don't know about me, and I think you probably already know, but I'm the director now of all match play, the U.S. and Canada. And when that was approached to me, I was actually at the World Championships last year, and Jeremy Rusko came up to me and just said, hey, would you be interested in doing this position and coming back to DD? Because I worked for DD from 2011 to 2015 when I ran the KC store. And I just pretty much was like, I think I said, let me think about it. But in my head, I was like, yes, I got, I didn't want to answer because I just wanted to process, but right away. And it's because I love the match play. I love the concept of the USAMPC. And yeah, just the idea of it, the singles, the doubles. Of course, this was my first year, and COVID kind of threw some wrenches into that. But even I made a few changes and adjustments, which I was excited to see. And now that's even built into, it hasn't ultimately been announced yet or finalized, but it looks like I'm going to be taking over all the tournament box stuff for Veterans for Vets, Trilogy Challenge, Marksman, all those events. I'm going to end up taking those. And then I also do the Handeye subscription service for DD.
Cool.
Just my resume for
Awesome.
those that are listening of everything I do for DD. So, all right. So really one last question, then I'm going to let you go here in a minute. But I know you were talking about before disc golf, your history with baseball and how serious you took it. So my curiosity question is, how far did you go in baseball? I mean, were you playing at college? Were you playing AAA? I mean, how serious were you into baseball?
So I played college ball for 3 days and walked away from it.
Okay.
But up until then, I was a good player. I wasn't great. I worked hard, and the whole hatred towards losing thing drove me to try to outwork people. And I was a shortstop in high school. I weighed 135 pounds, about the same height I am now. So I was really small. I was fast. Didn't talk a whole lot, but didn't have a whole lot of power. Just kind of put the ball on the ground and run. In 2010, I went to the Dominican Republic with a USA team and got to play a 7-game series down there. So that was really cool. And that kind of atmosphere and competitive setting, you can't replicate that kind of experience that baseball gave me. Playing in those stadiums, and I don't think people realize how much baseball players talk in those games. It's a good thing we don't have microphones on. So the trash talk and everything that people like to bring, 99.9% of it is just fun. But that was baseball for me, and we had a lot of fun. I got to college and really just ran the childish dream a little too far. I was a good high school baseball player. I wasn't great. There were plenty of people who could do what I did better than me. And 3 days into a junior college experience, I told the coach, this just isn't for me. And they questioned, is it too hard or anything? And I said, no, I just don't feel the desire. I don't feel it anymore to push this dream any further. And so I walked away from that, came home, and I think it was 3 weeks after that is when my best friend passed away, and kind of showed me really quick, there's more to life than baseball. And I'm forever thankful that I came home for those last 3 or 4 weeks that he was here to be with him. And but yeah, 3 days of college baseball.
What position did you play?
Me, middle infield. I was a shortstop.
Okay.
So fast feet, and a lot of those concepts in baseball carried perfect over into disc golf, and not just the sidearm, but having your lower body and upper body work together. That's all baseball is timing and getting your hips and hands to fire at the same time. And so that understanding probably helped me, but yeah, didn't go real far. Had a lot of fun though, and all those lessons learned in baseball, you're failing 7 out of 10 times at best, and they tell you not to lose confidence. That's hard to do. So had a lot of fun.
All right, Logan. Well, I appreciate you being on. So before we leave, and actually when we're done, I'm going to let you go, but don't hang up. I got something I got to tell you after the fact. Sorry, guys. And Isaiah Esquivel's online. He's saying hello. So giving you a little shout out.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
So those who don't know you, let everybody know, how can they find you and support you?
So finding me on social media, everything's just Logan Harpool. I have Facebook. I do quite a bit on Facebook, but I have more going on probably on Instagram. And just fired up a YouTube channel. I'm learning how to edit. I think my editing is okay, but in terms of the first few videos I put out, if you just want to watch some disc golf, go watch. But, I'm learning what to cut out, what to leave in, in terms of walking up fairways and just making it more entertaining. So I've got Instagram and YouTube are probably the top two. Facebook is the same. And then I have a blog that I need to get back on. It's obviously just all writing and stuff. But, yeah, Logan Harpool, Instagram, Facebook. Twitter is just kind of everything doubled from Instagram, so it's not that entertaining. But the blog is loganharpooldg.weebly.com. So the link you'll see it on my social media if you get over there.
Excellent. So, and everybody watching, I have all those links in the description. So if you don't want to look them up, they're there for you. So as always, I appreciate you coming out and kind of telling us your story, Logan. I hope everything good in the future. I hope the season comes back out for everybody. But, I'll be out there. I'll be watching you, and hopefully I'll even be out there on the course with you again. So So, all right, man, you have a good day. Hang tight. I'll be back with you here in a second.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
No problem, bud. All right, guys. So that was Logan Harpool, Team Dynamic Discs. I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you go and check out Logan's social media stuff. As we've been saying the last few weeks, now more than ever is to support all of the touring players and the different media outlets. I'll even throw myself included in there. It really goes a long ways in helping building those brands and things like that. So check out his links. Check out my links that are in the descriptions. So, and until next time, keep sharing the love. Blah, blah. Like, share, subscribe, all that usual stuff. And until next time, keep sharing the Trilogy love with the world. We'll see ya.